"Unidentified hyperspace signatures," shouted a specialist in front of Captain Orb. The control consoles were laid out in two dense semicircles on the large observation deck that sloped slightly forward. The transparent disk in front, now showing twinkling stars, was actually a gray wall of composite, heavily armored and buried deep in the Brown 3 asteroid, Harbingen's last listening post that monitored the outer system jump point. Orb's post was that of a sidelined officer, which was known not only to his superiors, who had transferred him here because he had inadvertently come under fire for his politics, but also to his subordinate crew and junior officers. Nothing happened out here, except the regular exits of interstellar traders, fleet ships, and private yachts. It was an administrative job that had nothing in common with the excitement of hunting pirates or even fighting humanity's arch-enemy, the cliques. Typically, a ship would jump into the system, extend its sensor beams, and check its position while transmitting its transponder code. Captain Orb's job was to verify it and disable the 8 automated defense platforms which surrounded the jump point, like oversized plates staring at cutlery. It was all routine, and he had nothing to do with it. His specialists, most still in training by the chief, handled everything. He merely sat in his chair, bored for one shift, while he spent his other shift bored in his room, or in the small cramped mess hall where the recycled air smelled of sweaty feet. So when the call of his subordinate rang out, whom he could not make out among the 24 uniformed sailors in their seats because no one turned around, he was far too irritated to say anything but, "What?" "Multiple unidentified hyperspace signatures," the voice in front of him repeated. "Several? Only one exit after the next is allowed," he grumbled. He frowned and leaned forward in his chair. Several faces turned to him. He straightened and said loudly, "Identify. How many contacts exactly?" "I count 30 so far, but they are steadily increasing. One new contact every second." "Transponder codes?" "Negative." "Clicks!" shouted another specialist, this one easily identifiable by the way he leaned forward at his console, a jumble of displays and input pads which surrounded him. "Clicks?" Orb repeated lamely, his eyes widening. "Here?" 94 contacts. "Fire the defensive platforms," he bellowed superfluously, as he saw several bright, short-lived explosions pierce the blackness of space through the virtual screen in front of them. The battle was already in full swing. 94 click ships, he thought, quickly wiping the cold sweat from his brow. Why Harbingen? "Platforms 1 through 8 are already engaged," the specialist reported. "Not enough. 8 is not enough." "Priority alert to fleet base," Orb said. "Send along all signatures and determine current and projected flight vectors." The specialist, one back among many in their dark gray uniforms, didn't reply, which could be tolerated in the current threat situation. The listening post was a shapeless lump of rock and loose regolith, compressed and hollowed out before it had been pushed into high orbit around the outer gas giant of the Harbingen system. The station was built inside the asteroid, so it could withstand Bohr's harsh radiation. Long-range sensors with the ability to detect nearly the entire electromagnetic radiation spectrum had been placed on its surface, giving the listening post the appearance of a mud ball marred with cutlery.